Hey, you. It's a blind life. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the It's a Blind Life podcast. My name is Aria.
And I'm Belle.
And we are just two legally blind sisters who decided to make a podcast talking about our lives as blind people. There's no rhyme or reason to this show. We talk about what we want when we want, and that's really all there is to it. What you see is what you get, and that's kind of where we are with it. And today, we're actually doing our first cozy episode. Woo!
What?
So, like we said in the last episode, we're going to start trying to do some more like cozy life episodes, just talking about like warm and fuzzy things, just because, you know, things are scary in the world right now. And as much as like, yes, that is all happening and like everybody needs to
Take a chill pill.
Well, keep an eye out for what they think they need to keep an eye out for and that kind of thing.
In your case, take a chill pill.
In my case, take a chill pill, yes. We want to also like kind of make this a space where you can go and not think about that for a little while. And so here we are.
I'm also just a grandma and have grandma hobby tendencies.
I mean, yeah, you are, I am.
I'm more grandma than you. I'm a little old lady.
So that being said, we are going to talk about today our crochet journey. So this is a hobby that Belle has been doing for quite a while. She'll be the one to kind of kick off her history for it. For me, I tried it at first and then didn't, and then I just got back into it last year. It's been almost 11 months now that I've been crocheting. And
Well, it's almost been 12.
March will be a year.
No, I started teaching you back at the old apartment. And then we found out that I can't teach anybody.
Right.
Crap. We'll get to that too. And then you started having to watch people.
Yeah, I did it. I kind of count March as my start time for doing it. So, that being said, we'll kick it over to Belle. Give us your history of trying to crochet.
So, I was in like elementary school and I was the crafty kid. I liked coloring and like all that. And it started with my mom got me like a mini loom. Like where you could like just thread the yarn and make I could only make pot holders, okay? I was not that creative, but I had fun just like
Doing it.
weaving. And then our grandmother at that point was in would you call the first place like a care facility home type?
Yeah, she was in she
assisted living home.
Yeah.
She had lived with us for a while, but it just got too much for everyone. Not that we didn't love her, but...
Well, and I think she also knew that it was getting to the point where she needed more care than what we could give. Like,
yeah.
Because we're not trained professionals.
And it was just our mom. There was me who was 10, 11 at the time. And it was just too much for all involved. And she knew that, like, to get the help she needed, that was what was needed. But while she was in there, and I would take, like, my little crafts to go sit and spend time with her, and, like, we'd go a couple times a week to see her and everything. And that's when I found out that, because, like, I guess, I don't know how, like, I originally was like, oh, crochet. I think Mom may have brought it up. And I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be, because I really liked the weaving. And so she was like, yeah, okay, fine. Let's see if you can, like, you would like this. And I was like, okay, well, how am I going to learn? And that's when our mom was like, oh, well, Grandma knows. So Grandma can teach you. Okay, great. So Grandma taught me how to chain, which is literally the most basic of basic things. But I loved chaining.
You did. I remember this.
Oh my gosh, I would just make these long chains of yarn. Like, completely useless.
Yeah.
I made bookmark-sized ones at one point. Like, I was insane. Like, I loved chaining. Because it was the only thing I could freaking do. And I think at that point then she also taught me then how to single crochet. So, like, you know, I'd just make like a scarf and it would just get worse and worse as I went on because I wasn't taught how to properly like make things like that, like make things into like an actual square.
Well, and to hold like tension. Like,
yeah.
Because the thing about crochet is that, and the reason that we can like do it is a lot of it is by feel. You kind of have to feel like how you're holding the yarn and you feel for the stitches and you don't need a lot of vision. Like as soon as you kind of know what you're feeling, you don't need a lot of vision to see what you're doing because a lot of it is by feel and like kind of muscle memory in a way.
Yeah, it is a lot of muscle memory. And then at that point in time, our mom took us to a Michael's craft class for crochet. Yeah, that ended horribly for me. I don't know how, didn't realize why until now, years later, of why that didn't go well. But, like, I could never granny square. I couldn't really do much of anything. So, like, it kind of fell to the wayside for me. And then, you know, our grandma passed away. So, like, I would do it here and there and I would just chain. But, like, that's kind of it. And then, like, I hit high school. I was so focused on dance. I didn't really have time for anything else. I had reading. But, like, I was a high schooler. And, like, it was bad enough that I read. If I would have crocheted, who knows what my life would have been like. It would have been torture. Like, kids are mean. Especially when you do things that they don't think are cool. Now I don't care. But at that point in time, like, I'm sad that I didn't, but at the same point in time, I'm just like, kids are mean, man.
Yeah.
Kids are mean. I had a bad enough time with them picking on me for reading. Like, kids are mean. So I kind of, like, stopped that. So, like, the only hobby that I actually had was reading, especially, like, once I got my injury and I couldn't dance anymore. Like, that's all I could do. I think that's all I actually did until college.
Yeah, I don't remember because, like, I don't remember seeing any projects that you made.
No, I didn't touch any of it.
Yeah.
Until college. And I saw a new therapist, and my therapist was just like, girl, you need a hobby. And I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And of course, this is mid-pandemic.
Right.
So I'm just like, what the heck am I going to do? Like, I can't do anything. Really just all around struggling. And then, like, I don't know how it came up. I think it was I, like, was talking to Mom and Aria, and I was just like, I need a hobby.
Oh, well, no, I do remember how this came up.
Was this how this came up?
You said, I need a hobby. And I literally Googled list of hobbies because we all were just like,
what hobby?
Well, we were all coming up empty because we were like, okay, this is what we know that you like, but none of it was like feeling like the right thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because we were like, we know you like drawing, but like,
yeah, because like at that point in time, it was my birthday and I started getting into drawing. But I'm also like a severe perfectionist, and I will spend days upon days on a single drawing.
You need to get back into that.
I really do.
You really do.
But the only thing I'm really good at, shockingly and creepily, is eyes. I'm good at drawing eyes.
Yeah.
Mine may not work, but I can draw them.
Yeah.
And then you just started reading.
Yeah, so I started reading off the list.
Drawing, and I was like playing chess against myself.
Yeah, and like none of that was like.
And like my therapist was like, you need mind-numbing nothingness.
Right. And so we were like looking around and we were trying to find hobbies and like we were trying to do this and that. And like that's when I think diamond painting came up, which I absolutely adore.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Yeah. You're not. I love it. And I'm to the point where I want to figure out how to make like my own artwork in that way.
Talk to me about that later.
Yeah.
I saw things.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
But one of the hobbies that came up was knitting and crochet. And so we were just like, oh, yeah, wait, you did know how to like, you did learn how to crochet.
Oh, yeah. And we also kind of learned how to knit from our aunt whenever I was in like high school.
Yes.
And she was making like those one type of scarf.
Yeah,
thing.
they were like a scarf, like a simple scarf.
It was
which
really weird.
I loved.
You loved those. But like, I could not knit.
Yeah, you couldn't knit, but you could crochet.
I could crochet. So Aria found the crochet, and Mom and Aria were just like, hey, you used to do that. You could just do that. So, you know, we started that back up. But then it was like, what the heck do I even make? To which case, everything was out of my level.
Well, and see, that was kind of the thing with you, was that you were just kind of like, I mean, I don't want to make this. Nothing was like speaking to you.
Well, like I was struggling because a lot of like clothes and like blankets and stuff, it's a lot of like granny squares. I could not granny square. I think I was terrified of them because I failed so much at them whenever I was trying to take the class at Michael's. Like when I say fail, like spectacularly failed. Like not even funny.
Yeah.
So, like, that stuff terrified me. So I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? And then I found the world of plushies.
Yep.
And I made a lot of balls.
Yeah, so they're like, they
little
were called dress pets. But it was just a little, essentially a crochet ball, which is a very simple
that
thing
I
to do.
Safety eyes on.
That you put like little eyes on, and like, it's your buddy.
Yep. I made a lot of those.
You did.
I made far too many of those.
But you also did it for, like, you donated it, or like Mom got you the materials and then you made it, and like you guys just donated that to your campus church or something?
Yeah, I did do that. I made some for my friends and like family members. We got yarn in our school colors, and I made them, a bunch of them, because like all I could do was that.
Mm-hmm.
And I could get one done in like 20 minutes. I was quick.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a bunch of them, and I like talked to the head of like our one church program, and I was like, hey, I have all of these. Do you want to put them out on a table or like what? And so like that's what we did. And I made a bunch of them, and they just all got donated because I'm just like, I can't keep them.
Yeah.
I did that a lot. I don't know when I stopped doing that.
Well, it was because I think it was your senior year when like that donation happened, I want to say.
Junior to senior, yeah.
It
like
was
last
like
semester of junior year to senior year.
Yeah, it was something like that.
And then I came home because I graduated early. Oh, the one other thing I learned to crochet and could crochet really good was a beret.
Yes. Yeah, you did a hat.
I did a beret. I was really good at crocheting a beret. And to which case, when we went, I believe we've mentioned this before. I know we've mentioned it on Book Talk. But to celebrate me graduating early from college, we went to Disney.
Yes.
And Ari and I grew up on a lot of Disney because Disney. What else were our parents to do with us?
Yes. And so we decided this time that we would Disney bound when we were there.
Yes. And when we did it as characters together.
Right. Yeah. We did it as characters that were related to each other.
Like we were dwarves one day. So Arya was Grumpy and I was Dopey.
We did Dumbo and Timothy.
We did
Radigan and Basil.
Yep, Radigan and Basil.
Great Mouse Detective. We did some deep cuts. We did Belle and Gaston.
Yep, we did Belle and Gaston. And then we did Zero and Jack Skellington.
Yes.
And that was one that we were really excited for. We both love that movie.
Yes.
And so Aria was Jack and I was Zero.
Mm-hmm.
And like through it, we were like trying to find a way to really make me a Zero.
Yes.
And like all we had was like a white dress, a jacket in case it was cold,
and white shoes.
Which I already owned.
So essentially what Belle did was she found, I don't know how you found it, but she found a pattern for a beret with
No, I found the pattern for the beret. And on the train, I made a beret. Like, at first, I was just going to make, like, a bucket hat or something. And we're like, no, let's just make the beret. We're on the train going to Florida. Aria's sitting across from me. And I'm literally working. I get, like, halfway through the bucket hat. And we're just like, this isn't looking right. And you were just like, do a beret.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We're changing it to a beret, everybody. Again, on the train.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm throwing together this hat. And then I came up with a great idea. Let me make Zero ears.
Yes. And so that's what she did. She made just like little strips in the general shape of his ears to then attach to the hat, and it made it a Zero hat.
Yep.
And so when we did the Disney Bound, she wore it. And like we wished that we had like some wire or something
to like make them
stand.
Yeah.
But this was a last minute thing.
It was the last minute, like literally last minute. Bought the yarn a day before the train.
Yeah, we were
making it on the train.
We were on the train, just doing it.
I think I even like was making it Christmas Eve.
You probably were. Because I know you were working on it, because I know
or
that
Christmas
was
Day or something.
Yeah, it was getting close to the wire. Like you got it done, like I think a couple days before you needed it, but it was getting close to the wire.
Yeah,
of when you would need it.
Yeah,
and I know people did compliment you on it.
Yeah, I did have some cast members. I think it helped that we were together. When we say we were together, like, we hardly left each other's hats.
Yes. And so that, I think, is what helped sell our Disney Bounds, is because you saw one and then you saw
the other. And you could put two and two together. The only one that nobody got was Radigan and Bezel.
Because it was such a deep cut.
It was such a deep cut. But we did have people comment on our outfits.
Yeah, because we were we were dressed up.
We were dressed up. Like,
we looked out of place.
But
at the same time, I didn't care because I was just like
living my best life. I got a tie.
I got a top hat.
Yeah, like, you had a top hat. I had like a Sherlock hat.
I was having a great time.
We were having a great time.
I didn't care if I was being judged because I was just like, I'm living my best life. Like,
y'all, we had a great time. I had saddle shoes. Like, I was living my best life.
Yes. So we did that, and you did get compliments on that hat.
Yeah, I had some cast members ask me. They're like, "Oh, that's like a good Disney Bound of Jack and Zero," and then thanks. We're sisters. We love that movie. Wanted to do something, so we decided to do this because why not? And a couple of them did comment of like, "Oh, that was a great idea for the hat. Like, where did you get it?" And I was like, "Oh, I made this," and they're like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah,
yes." Yeah.
I don't know where I'd buy this, but like, yeah, I made it because like that's all I could do to like help sell the Zero. And we were Robin Hood and Little John. That was the other one.
Yeah, Robin Hood and Little John was another one that we did.
That was another one. Sorry.
But yeah, so that then started. So we moved down here.
And then like the first semester, I didn't touch it.
No, you didn't mess with it. And like, we were all just kind of acclimating.
Yeah.
And then your second semester, I forget how I was like, I want to start knitting again.
Well, yeah, you wanted to start knitting. So like, you got that stuff. And I wanted to make a demon bear.
So yeah, she wanted to make a little stuffed lion, but in Gryffindor colors for Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just to like...
You can tell how bad this is going just by the sound of that.
Okay. It did turn out to be a little cursed.
It turned out to be very cursed.
It turned out to be a little cursed. Like, I liked the idea in theory.
I think I made the wrong choice on the body yarn. I think if I would have done like the lighter color as the body instead of the red,
yeah,
it would have turned out better. It is deranged and it is demonic. And he sits on a shelf and we don't talk about him.
We love him.
We love him from a very big distance.
We love him. He's a little cursed, and that's okay.
Yeah, very cursed.
When that happened, though, how did it... Because I then was like, I should try to crochet, because knitting wasn't going well.
You were struggling with knitting. And, like, I had other yarn, so I was like, oh, just use some of my yarn, like, no big deal, whatever. And she could make, like, a weird, like, ear muff warmer.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call those.
I made, like, a cowl at one point, which I don't even know where it ended up. And I made a little, like, head wrap, kind of. Not head wrap, but
one of the ear-warming headbands.
Yes.
But, like, if you live in a cold place, you know what we're talking about. If
yes.
not, and you live in a warm place, you probably still know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's like a headband that will cover your ears for when it is cold outside, essentially. And I don't know, like, knitting wasn't doing it for me because, I don't know, like, I just didn't want to just make garments, like, or like things that you could wear. And that's a lot of what knitting kind of lends itself to.
Yes, it does. Like, you can make plushies and stuff, but they're a lot more, like, realistic.
Yes. And also, we learned that I do not know how to increase or decrease stitches when it comes to knitting because it makes no sense. Like, no sense is made. I couldn't figure it out. And I got really frustrated, and I was just like, I want to keep doing stuff with yarn because, like, this is fun, but what am I going to do? You know, what do I even try to do? Yep. And so Belle was just like, try crochet.
Again.
Now, rewinding time. When I was in high school, I want to say, is when I was someone was just like, hey, you should try to crochet. We're going to try to crochet. And so I was like, okay. And I had learned like how to do like the simple stitch, which is the single crochet, and like chaining and stuff. And I worked on making a scarf. My scarf did not turn out well. I like did not have good tension. Like it kept getting tighter as I went up. And my mom was just, looking at it and she's like, you got to keep looser tension. And I'm like, but I am. Like, to me, I didn't feel like I changed anything that I did as I went up the scarf. And so eventually, because I am a perfectionist, I got really frustrated and was like, I'm never doing this again because, like, it makes no sense. I don't understand. What the heck? So then...
You did join us for that Michael's class.
I do not remember that Michael's class.
Yeah, because it was taught by your friend's mom.
I thought we did something else for that. Like, I don't remember that class. I remember being in there. I don't remember what we learned in that class.
Granny squares.
I don't remember.
To which case I failed. Anyway.
So, got frustrated, was like, not gonna. Like, just not gonna. So, then, flash forward again, we're down here. I was just like, You
made scarves in college.
I did.
For Grumpy Cat.
I did. No, I made it for my old roommate. And
I was told there was a scarf for Grumpy Cat.
There might have been one. I don't remember. I know but I made house scarves. Or no, it wasn't house scarves.
Was in your school color.
I thought it was their favorite colors.
It was your school color.
I don't remember.
Because it was blue and white.
I don't remember. But I did make scarves again. And like this time it went better. But like also like garments just aren't like interesting to me. Like it wasn't giving me the joy. And so then we pretty much were just like, okay, yeah, I'm just not gonna do yarn crafts. Flash forward now, I wanted to try knitting. Knitting was going horribly, horribly awry. Didn't understand what I was doing. And then Belle was just like, well, why don't you try crocheting? Like, you can try to do plushies and stuff. And I was like, okay. So we move because, this wasn't happening while we were moving. And Belle is just like, okay, whatever yarn you want to try, go ahead and try to make the stress ball.
Well, first it was, I'll teach you.
Well, okay, yeah. So, yeah. First it was
Before
Belle
we moved, I was trying to teach her.
did not go well.
No, it didn't. And here is why. Our grandmother, when she taught me, was left-handed.
Yes.
I am right-handed.
Yes.
So, when you translate that, I crochet backwards.
Right. Yeah. So Belle crochets very strangely. Like it should not work. It should not make sense.
It should not work. It shouldn't make sense. It shouldn't come out good, but it does, and we're not changing it.
Yes. So Belle has her way because she was taught by a left-handed person. Now, Belle is a right-handed person who does crochet weird, who is now trying to teach a left-handed person how to do this. It did not go well.
Didn't
And
work.
the thing is, too, I love Belle dearly, but she is not a good teacher.
Listen, I got so frustrated.
You were frustrated. I was frustrated. Like,
I think
everyone.
Again, a big thing is the switching back. So you're crocheting correctly, but I can't watch you crochet correctly because it's wrong to me because I crochet backwards.
Right. Yeah. So when you are making plushies in a crochet style, that style of crochet is called amigurumi. And so when you are doing that sort of crochet pattern for right-handed people, regular right-handed people, they will be able to just kind of whip everything up and like it looks like the outside of the project is on the outside of the project, the inside is on the inside.
No,
yes. Yes.
Okay.
Everything is as it should be if you are a right-handed person trying to crochet. We're not talking about Belle. Belle will go last. For a left-handed crocheter, everything that we do is backwards. So essentially, when I'm making a project, I am crocheting, like the inside of the project is on the outside. So I have to flip everything that I make inside out, essentially, to get the correct outside on the outside, right? Which I know it sounds really weird. It's hard to explain, but that is like every time I have to kind of pull the right side out, essentially.
Turn the project inside out.
Yes, to make it look the way that it's supposed to. With Belle, she gets the best of both worlds. Because she goes the way that left-handed crocheters go, but because she's right-handed, everything still somehow comes out the way that it's supposed to. It's very strange. I don't know how it works. None of us understand how it works. But Belle just does things. Things happen. And it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, I can't. This is why it's so difficult. Because, like, it really is, like, and I didn't even realize I crocheted backwards until college.
Mm-hmm.
Where a friend who, like, knew basics of crochet was sitting with me, and I was crocheting, and she's like, you crochet weird. And I was just like, what? And she, like, watches me. You're going the wrong direction. No, I'm going the right direction. You're crocheting backwards.
Yeah, essentially, Belle crochets backwards, but because she's right-handed, it still comes out right. Like,
yeah. I think it's because I go the opposite direction.
It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
Because normally when people crochet, they go counter, or they go clockwise.
Yeah.
Normally, and I go counter.
Yes. Yeah, normally when you are working in the round, which is amigurumi to get, circular shapes. You work, for right-handed people, they work clockwise. Left-handed people who are actually left-handed people also work clockwise, and that's why it's backwards, because of the left hand, essentially, being the one to do the stitching.
Mm-hmm.
For Belle, she goes backwards like a left-handed person, but she's right-handed, so it's just
counterclockwise.
So she's going counterclockwise. That is what it is.
It is.
Because every time that I have you do a row for me or something.
I have to completely turn your project.
You just completely do things randomly, and then I'm like, what the heck did you hand me? What have you done to this? I'm so confused, and I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, whenever you'd give it to me, I'd have to completely turn her project, reinsert the hook,
Yeah, Belle just she gets...
It's because I crochet counterclockwise.
Yeah, she gets very confused. And so, yeah. So we moved, and Belle was like, okay, pick some yarn that you like. Oh, wait, no. The other thing, too, that we talked about was what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah.
And for some reason, how did it come up that I was like, I want to make plushies. I want to do crocheted plushies and sell
That
them.
is my fault.
Is it? Because I don't remember how it happened, and now it's I want this to be a thing.
It is my fault because whenever I got back into crocheting in law school, I really like to watch other people and what other people make and, see how things work that way. And in doing that, I found people who go to craft shows and go to markets and sell their stuff that way. Shout out to... Can I shout out a YouTuber?
Yeah.
Shout out to Crochet by Jenna, because she was one of the first I watched. And I loved watching her talk about running her Etsy shop and, different things like that. And from there, I found other people who went to markets. There's another girl, I don't know her name, and I am so sorry, but she went to Comic-Cons and sold stuff there. And I knew for me, and we have a friend who struggles. He's super smart, but socially struggles a bit.
Yeah.
So he almost needs a second job to socialize.
Right.
So, we were talking, and I'm that's kind of similar to what I have. I really struggle socializing. So, I'm oh, if, we were to go to one of these markets, oh, that'd be a great socializing thing for me. Mm-hmm. So then I brought it up to Aria.
And now we're here.
Now
we're in deep. So, essentially, I forget how I figured it. Well, no. The first thing I tried to make before I tried to make the stress pets was a beret. Because Belle was like, these are pretty easy. You can do this. I don't know what I did. I still don't know what I did to mess up my beret so bad, but I made a beret for a person with a gigantic head.
You did.
I don't know how I did it. I couldn't tell you because I followed the pattern. I did what it said. Somehow it did not work. And so essentially I was just like, okay, this isn't for me. Let's not do this. And so then Belle was like, okay, make stress pets. That's how I learned. This is how we will teach you.
I gave you the video and everything.
So she did the video. She gave me the video. I figured it out. My first one, his name is Quasi Peacho because he's a bit deformed. He looks like a peach. We love him. He's cursed, but we love him. And so then the second one I made, it came out a little better. And then the third one I made was good.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it's just been over the course of 2024, because I started in March-ish. It then became, okay, what now do I want to make? And finding some sort of something to make and trying it and failing and just,
some turned out good.
Some turned out okay. The thing is so after the stress pets, it was a bunny,
You got too cocky.
I got too cocky.
You got too cocky.
And the bunny, he looks like he's been well-loved. Like, he was a well-loved child's plaything.
What is that enchanted, like, stuffed bunny toy movie? Mim?
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't remember. Maybe somebody knows what I'm talking about. I don't remember the movie at all. I didn't see it. I know you and Mom watched it.
Okay. Well, anyway.
The Miracle of Mim.
The Secret of
The
Mim?
Yeah, that!
Okay, that is mice, and no, that is not it.
There's a movie with a stuffed bunny toy, and it's well-loved and weird-looking, and that's what that your bunny reminds me of.
Anyway, he looks well-loved, but he has never seen the love of a child. He just chills. We love him. And then I just kept working on other things and, like, learning other...
You tried to make a manatee.
I did try to make a manatee.
That was discarded.
That was discarded.
I don't know where that is.
No, I do know, because I need to tear it up to use it for stuffing and other things. Because the other thing, too, is, like, when I went to make the manatee, I found out there's a certain type of yarn I hate, which is what I was using to make the manatee. And it got to the point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And plus, with the manatee, I really needed, like, help from you to, like, put it together. And you were busy. And at the time, I couldn't put it together on my own. And so, like, as I've been doing more projects, I've been learning how to put things together on my own, how to sew things, how to get it to be okay. And, like, there are some projects that I absolutely love how they came out. There are other projects, they are a little cursed, and that's okay. And Belle has kind of become, for me, my oracle, where I'm just like, this is what I want to do. How do I do it? How do I fix this? And then Belle will look at it and be like, do this. And I'd be like, okay. And there are some things where I still am like, okay, Belle, I don't know how you do that. I don't think I can do that. Can you do that? And then Belle will take my thing and, like, do whatever she needs to do. And then it's like, okay, there you go. Have fun.
Figure it out now that it's backwards.
Figure it out now. And so then I've got to figure it out, which I do. And
you can't tell.
No, you can't.
Like, you can't tell in real life. You cannot tell the difference that I crochet backwards. Even when Aria gives me one of her projects and she crochets clockwise and then I crochet counterclockwise, you really can't tell.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
Yeah, there is no difference. It all works out in the wash. It all comes out in the wash. It works out well.
Yes.
So right now is a little crazy because I made a dumb idea. I had a very stupid idea to essentially try to make 4 plushies at once.
Mm-hmm.
That has gone...
One's done. The other thing is she got patterns from a right-handed person.
Yeah.
And they are hardcore right-handed patterns. Like, you can't really switch it for left-handed.
No, I tried. And it came out so, like, the pattern I tried to do it with came out so wonky that I have to scrap that yarn. It came out so bad. And I'm to the point where I'm just like, okay, well, you know what? Here we go again. Like, you know, so it's been a lot of, for me, living and learning. And, like, trying to break through it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not gonna be perfect. It's handmade. There are gonna be imperfections. There are gonna be things that look a little weird. These are things to expect. It is okay.
Yeah.
And that has been a very difficult lesson for me to do. And the patterns that Belle is mentioning, they are the least intuitive patterns I've come across, I think, so far.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you've read them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are not...
Because you'd give them to me to try to be like, you make sense of this. And I was just like, I think this. And then you went to check the video. That was not it. And I'm like, that is literally not what's written.
Yeah, it's just not intuitive. And It sucks because the patterns are adorable. Like, I love them. And now I have patterns that I can't really do anything with, but
those patterns suck.
it's okay. Things happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
you're still going on plushies, and I have now left the realm of 3D, and I'm now on to 2D. Yeah, we're doing great.
Yep, you've finally mastered the granny square.
I did. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it started with, I really started to get bored end of last year, like October-ish, or around that time. I really got bored of making plushies. I don't know what it was. Like, I'm just like, yeah, these are cute, but like, I'm so sick of them. You're cute and all, but like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I want something else. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I went on Pinterest and everything, and I found crochet pixel grids. And I found one, and I can say this because our father does not listen to these podcasts. I don't even think he knows how to. He loves Snoopy. And I also love Snoopy. And it got to the point where, like, Christmas or, like, his birthday, I always try to get him a Snoopy, like, figurine. Well, we're running out of options. And so I'm like, what am I going to get him? Well, I have a bunch of Snoopy blankets. I have one that I used all throughout college, like, never slept without it. And now our mom goes to, like, TJ Maxx and gets, like, the new, like, holiday ones. So, like, I have a Thanksgiving one, I have Halloween, got some Christmas ones, and just some random ones, because if the one Snoopy blanket I had died, we'd all be in a bad place.
Well, and that's the thing. It's getting a little ratty.
It's not looking the greatest, but it's not looking horrible.
Yeah, it's manageable, but at this point, we're just going to give you a lot of secondary options that you can start getting used to.
Yeah.
So that way, when it comes time for the blanket to...
Yeah, you can feel the difference.
But like,
it doesn't look horrible. You just feel a difference. So I have these blankets, and like, it's now my thing. I'm a creature of habit. I know it's bad, but I have to sleep with Snoopy blanket. Like, I cannot not sleep with Snoopy blanket, or I don't sleep. So then my dad doesn't have one. So I found a pixel grid for a blanket that has Snoopy and Woodstock on it. And so I'm working on that. That is freaking difficult. I like it, but it is so difficult. Actually having to sit at the pixel grid and count out how many squares of each thing there are, and then to write it down so I can be like, okay, I need this many of this color, then this many of this color, then this many of this color of stitches all in this row. It's quite difficult.
But you've been enjoying, like, the challenge of it, though.
I am. I started working on it, like, over Christmas, and now I'm kind of at a standstill for a minute. I haven't touched it in a minute, but we're gonna get back to it.
It's gonna just take time.
I'm trying to see if I can save the pattern.
Yeah, I don't think that's... I think you're gonna have to
restart.
Redo it all over again.
Which is fine. I'll redo it. It is what it is. But, yeah. So, that. No big deal. And then I recently I was, like, working with the blanket, but then, like, you know, my old iPad that had the pattern that, like, I sat at the grid and I counted out each square and I wrote on that pattern on my iPad. I can't get it. So it was like, okay, well, I'm going to wait to see if it fixes itself. It did fix itself, and then it didn't fix itself, and now we're here. So I'm like trying to decide whether or not to sit here and redo the pattern, which I'll probably have to do anyway, to like write everything out, to like get back to doing that. But in that time, I'm like, I want to do something else. What do I want to do? And I was like, oh, I know, I can make myself like a shawl. So I looked at the yarn that we had, because we don't really have any yarn that's like
garment yarn.
Yeah. It's not really garment yarn.
Because we got a lot of yarn more so to make plushies and like to start making things that we can, when we get to the point where we can start selling stuff, like we kind of have the yarn and we can just start whipping things together, having stuff on hand.
Yeah. So we thought of that. So we have all that. So like I was going through the yarn that we have that like isn't that yarn. And we found one of this like it's called the golden moss. It's a yellow velvet. And I'm like, okay, well, let's use this. Why not? And so we tried to look for a pattern of a shawl. We couldn't find a pattern of her shawl that worked good, but I found a cloak.
And so that's what you did.
So I now own a cloak.
You made one.
I did. I completed it in pretty good time, too.
You did.
Like, I'm shocked. It took me like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's like, it's not like you did it every day.
Yeah.
It's not like you weren't spending like
hours upon hours.
Yeah, if you were spending hours upon hours, you would have probably gotten it done in like 2 or 3 days, I would say.
Yeah. So there was that. And then 3 of the 4 projects that Arya mentioned are for a friend. Well, there's another project that we wanted to do, and we finally figured it out, except now I have to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And so last night, actually, I mastered a granny square for the first time in my life.
We are so proud.
We should be, because that's a massive accomplishment for me. So now I have to make a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say because we
cannot say.
Can't say.
We cannot say.
We cannot say because
we cannot say. When we can say, we will be like, oh, this, but we cannot say. So yeah, there's a total of 4 secret projects that we're working on. And then 3 of them are what I have to make, where 1 is done. So we're like a fourth of the way there.
A fourth.
I'm supposed to get a new hook to try because for added fun, essentially, back when I was in high school, I developed, I forget what the doctors called it, but the way that it was explained to me is it's a cross of carpal tunnel and tendonitis in my left hand. And they said it was from like how I was writing and like, I played piano. Like I did a lot of things, with my hand. And so I had been given a brace for it. Normally, if it twinges up, like I just wear the brace and it's fine. Well, recently, since I've taken up crochet, I have been starting to, every so often, I will get, like, my fingers will go numb, or like my thumb will be really painful, or like it just hurts to move my hand, which is different. This is kind of like an upgraded version of ouch. And so what I've been wearing, the brace and stuff to help. We got some craft gloves for me to try to see if that would help with the pain that I've had in my fingers. And like, so far, so good. But I have to be really careful of like how much I do for now until hopefully when I get to go up to see a medical professional sooner rather than later, they can give me a little more guidance as to like how to fix this or what to do just so it's not quite so bad and to like extend the longevity of my hands and, my wrist and all that jazz. And let's hope that just surgery isn't the option, because if it is, I will cry a little. But yeah, so there's another project, though, which I can talk about. A friend of mine who plays D&D with me, I wanted to make her something that's kind of related to her character. So right now it is me just trying to hurry up and get as many projects done as soon as possible before I have to go back up to PA because otherwise it's going to take a while for them to get done, and that would be less than ideal. So, yeah. What else? I know I really love doing the plushies. Like, I don't think that that's gonna change. Because anytime that we've had me try to do like something else, like, and work not in 3D, it's come out so bad.
Yeah, just a bit.
So, like, I don't know what it is. I can work on like amigurumi and I can work in the 3D, but working in the 2D, we don't get along. Me and 2D don't get along. I think for some odd reason, Belle is like much better suited to working in 2D,
Yeah.
even though Belle can think in 3D.
Hashtag dyslexia.
Yeah. But even though she can do that, like, she honestly does like, not that your plushies aren't great because they are, but like your stuff also looks really, really good, like in the 2D. Like your granny squares looked really, really cute.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the one, which I'm happy with because it's a 3D 2D situation, and like just the plain ones, like those came out really cute. So like I'm not gonna complain too much. I like 2D because it opens. Like I don't know why I got so bored of plushies, but I think it's because like the elaboracy.
Yeah, you can be a lot more elaborate, I think, in the 2D. Like, you can do really elaborate plushies with like a lot of details and like a lot of different things. But I think there's a different kind of elaboracy to tapestry blankets or to granny square stuff or to just different 2D projects that really, I think, speaks to you more so than the plushie does, if that makes sense. Because, like, I know I've had a lot of, what was it, my third plushie that I made, technically, was this gigantic Nessie. And I needed Belle to help me with that one because there was a lot of moving parts to that one. And it was very, very elaborate. And I just was not ready to put it together. But it came out super cute. And honestly, that's one of the plushies I'm super proud of. But it's very much like, for you, I think you like being able to do the intricate work, not put together the intricate work.
Yeah. I think my thing is like, and I'm like not saying I'm not proud at some of like the plushies I've done. Like I've done a lot that I am proud of that aren't the demonic lion.
Yeah, your goblin is very cute.
I made a goblin that's really cute. I made a Beauty and the Beast inspired Loch Ness monster, which came out really cute.
Yeah, she's very cute.
She is humongous, but she's so freaking cute. And other things like that. But like, all in all,
I don't think it's for you.
I think every now and then I'm like, oh, this is a really cute one. I want to make this.
Yeah, I think it's a, like, every so often for you. I don't think it's a, I'm going to do this all the time thing for you.
Yeah, I think it's every so often. Like, there's one, I want to try to make, like, a Mr. Darcy plushie.
Oh, that would be cute.
I'm trying to still figure out how to go about doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that will take some time to, like, figure that all out and how that's going to work. So, yeah, what other crochet things that we didn't touch on?
Still trying to figure out yarn.
Yeah, we're still working on figuring out what kind of yarn we like, what we want to use all the time, that kind of stuff, because yarn is way more complicated than you would think.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me. But yeah, it is a whole different world. It's one of those things where we like kind of know some stuff, but we don't really know stuff. And so like we're just trying to get through on like vibes.
Just a bit.
Is what it's kind of boiling down to.
Just
and
a bit.
you should not go through do as we say, not as we do. Do not go through trying to figure out the yarn world on vibes.
Yeah, don't do that, please.
Because it's not a great time. It's not the best time in the world. But because a lot of it is all personal preference. It really, truly is. And some yarns that, like, I would absolutely hate, Belle likes, and vice versa. So it is truly personal preference.
Yeah, Aria hates using acrylic yarn, which is understandable because she does do plushies. But, like, for me, I'm like, I hate chenille yarn.
Yeah.
But I sew. So, like, I have a vendetta
Against chenille.
against chenille yarn.
Yeah, chenille. I like chenille yarn because I like plushies that actually kind of, like, you can see the stitches, but it's also kind of furry. Like,
It's cuddly.
It's cuddly. Like, it looks like a plushie. With acrylic yarn, it's just flat. Like, to me, it looks flat and boring.
Flat and boring.
Yeah, no. But yeah, but again, that is personal preference. There are some people who are going to love the look of the acrylic yarn. I'm just not one of them. And, like, that's okay. So, and there are some people who are like, I want to use, like, this super fancy, like, cotton blend or something like that. You know, and that's cool too. Like, you're allowed to choose what you want to use, but it is a very vast world. And when you try to look some stuff up, again, you get a lot of people's opinions. And again, that's great. But when you're trying to just get, okay, this is what you're looking at. Like, if you are interested in this, you should look into this.
Yeah, like how I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is technically the best yarn for pixel grids? What is the best yarn for clothing? Not talking about brands, but just the type.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't get answers, and I'm frustrated. Anger and rage.
Yeah. It can be very frustrating sometimes, and there's not really a good overview. Maybe one day we'll give our thoughts on just the yarn world in general from what we know. But, you know, that might not be for a while. We'll still try to, like, learn. Like, we're still learning stuff and improving, like, at the more that we work with the different types of yarn, the more that we do stuff. So who's to say? Who's really to say at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's about all we have for this episode. Like I said, this is going to be our first, like, cozy episode. There will be other episodes, cozy episodes, where we'll probably talk about crochet again.
Who knows? I may get Aria to do some crochet drama.
Oh, yeah, we might. I mean, who knows? We'll see. Time will tell.
Time will tell. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So, that being said, we want to thank you for coming along today as we talked about our crochet experience and our crochet journey, I guess you could call it. Of course, if you like this episode, if you like what you've been listening to, please consider following the podcast and sharing the episode with your friends. It really would help us to grow the show, and we would appreciate all the support those actions would give. And hey, if you just want to leave a review, that would be totally okay too. And then, as we said last time, next time, we don't know what we're talking about. We are still working on scheduling stuff. We don't really have a plan. This show, I think, is slowly going to be devolving into chaos.
Yeah, just a bit.
So it's going to be a surprise for all of us what we talk about next time. So that being said, hey, don't forget, it is a blind life, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.